We continue now at the top of Daf Samech Aleph Amid Beis Meseches Avodah Zara. This is Avodah Zara Daf 61b. On the previous summit, the Gemara brought a brisa which said that if a Jew has a house in a chotzer of an ovet kochavim, either he bought the house or he's renting the house, and he puts barrels of wine into the house, so those barrels of wine will be permitted so long as there is a Jew that's living in that chotzer, because then the ovet kochavim is afraid to touch the wine, and as long as a Jew is living in that chotzer, so there doesn't even need to be seals on the barrels of wine, and the Jew who's living in that chotzer doesn't necessarily even need to have a key to the house. However, the brisa continues, b'chotzer acheres. Rashi explains, b'chotzer acheres Yisrael dar b'chotzer acheres. If the Jew is not living in that chotzer, but he's living in another chotzer, so then mutter, it is permitted, but only on the following condition: v'hushem afteach v'chosem biyado, as long as the key and the seal is in his possession, is in his hand. So then if you have the barrel sealed, he has the key, so then already again, the ovet kochavim is going to be afraid to touch the wine. And the brisa continues, Hamitari yeno shel ovet kochavim birashuso. Let's say, again, you have a case of a person purifying the wine of an ovet kochavim, and it's in the reshus. The wine is sitting in the possession of the ovet kochavim. V'Yisrael dar ba'osa chatzer. If a Jew is living in that chatzer, mutter, again, it will be mutter, will be permitted, but again on the condition v'ushem afteach v'chosem biyado. That's only if the key and the seal is in his possession. And Rashi explains, Hachi garsinan yeno shel ovet kochavim b'reshuso. If the wine of the ovet kochavim is in his reshus, and again this is talking about hamitaher, it's talking about someone who purifies that wine. Im hayayin shel ovet kochavim. The case over here is that the wine belongs to the ovet kochavim. It belongs to the idolater. V'tiaro Yisrael, and the Jew purified it, meaning to say it's going to be kosher to sell to other Jews. V'nasnu b'reshuso ovet kochavim asmo, and he puts it in the reshus of the ovet kochavim. V'Yisrael dor be'osa chatzer, and a Jew is living in that chotzer, mutter, then it's permitted. V'husha mafteach v'chosam biyad Yisrael. That's if the key and the seal is in the possession of the Yisrael. Aval ein mafteach v'chosam biyado. But if the key and the seal are not in the possession of the Jew, afal pisha Yisrael dar ba'osa chotzer, even though the Jew is living in that chotzer, asur, it is forbidden. And the reason why we're more strict over here is kevan shahayayin shalo, since the wine really is the wine of the ovet kochavim, to lo mirtas kulihai, so he's not afraid. That's why we're stricter in this case. And the Gemara continues, Amar le Rabbi Yochanan l'Tana. Rabbi Yochanan said to the Tana refers to the Amora who was teaching the Brisa. Rabbi Yochanan said to him, Tani, you should teach it as follows. Afal pi she'ein mafteach v'chosem biyado mutter. Even though there is no key and seal in the possession of the Jew, it is going to be mutter, meaning to say, in this last case of hamitaher yeno shel ovet kochavim, the case where he's purifying the wine of the ovet kochavim, since the Yisrael is dor ba'osa chotzer, Rabbi Yochanan says really it should be mutter even without the key and without the seal. And Rashi explains, Tani afa pisha ein mafteach v'chosem biyado. Again, it should be taught even though there's no key and there's no seal. Kevan de Yisrael dar ba'osa chatzer, since there's a Jew living in that chatzer, keshomer hayotze v'nechnas dami. That's like a guard who's going in and out. Damrina b'masnis and shemutter. We said in the Mishnah that is going to be mutter. And the Gemara continues, b'chotzer acheres. Now, if the Jew is living in a different chotzer, so there asur afal pi shemafteach v'chosem biyado. There it's going to be forbidden, even though the Jew has the key and seal in his hand. Divrei Rabbi Meir. These are the words of Rabbi Meir. Since he's in another chotzer, we can never be mater. The chachamim osrin, and the chachamim say asur ad sheyeh shomer, until there's a guard, yoshev u'meshamer, who's sitting there and guarding. Oad sheyavu memuna habala kitzin, or until an appointed person comes at set times, again to guard the wine. And Rashi explains, O ad sheyavo memuna habala kitzin, or until someone appointed comes at set times, sheyeh shomer memuna l'shomro, that there's someone appointed to guard over it. Aval holech v'yotze, but he comes in and out. V'yesh lo shah kavua lavo, he has a certain time to come. O ad sheyavo, or until he comes. Kilomar, what it means to say is, O ad sheyeh memuna aleim, until he's appointed. Sheyisyare zemi biyaso, again that this person is afraid that this guard is going to come. And Rashi notes, Ulakamon parach, the Gemara later on will ask, habola kitzin, the fact that he comes at a set time, Greyusahu, that's actually worse, because now the person knows exactly when the guard is going to come. So what is the meaning of that statement of the Brisa? And the Gemara continues and asks, Chachamim ahaya, this last opinion of the Chachamim, what are they going on? Again, the Chachamim here are being strict, and they're saying that there needs to be a guard, but what case are they arguing on? Now, there were two cases that were listed right before the Chachamim. First, we had a case where the Yisrael is living in that chotzer, where we said that it was mutter. This is talking about mitaher yeno shel ovet kochavim, and there's there's a Yisrael in the Chatzar. So there we said that it's mutter, and we had a machlokas there exactly how to learn. Is it mutter if he has the key and the seal? Or Rabbi Yochanan said no, that it's mutter even without the key and the seal. Or the Chachamim could be going on the very last case of the bride. So the last case of the bride is again where you have mitar yeno shalovet kochavim, and the Jew is living in another chatzar, and there Rabbi Meir said that it's asur even if the key and the seal are in the possession of the Jew, and then the Chachamim might be arguing over there. And so that's what the Gemara is asking, what are they going on? Ilema asef, if you're going to say that they're going on the end, Tanakama nami mesar ka'asur, but the Tanakama also is being strict, meaning to say, if they're going on the very last case, where the Jew is bechatzar acheres, so Rabbi Meir already said asur, even though the key and the seal is in his hand. So the Chacham are coming and being strict. Rabbi Meir was already strict. Viela aresha de seifa. So rather you'll say, we're going on the first case of the end cases, meaning again, we're going on the case of mitahar yeno shel oved kochavim birashuso. The Jew is purifying the wine of the oved kochavim, and the wine is in the possession of the oved kochavim, and the Yisrael is living in that chatzar. And so then we said that it's mutter in that case. And again, there were two versions. Is it mutter with the key and the seal, or is it mutter even without the key and the seal? But the problem with saying that the Chacham are being strict over there, but didn't Rabbi Yochanan say there to the Tana, he said, Tani, that you should teach, afal pisha ein mafteach v'chosim biyado, even though the key and the seal are in his possession, meaning to say, if it was so obvious to Rabbi Yochanan that we should even change the text of that part of the Brisa, because it is so obvious that in that case it would be mutter even without the key and the seal, so it's very hard to say that the Chachamim would be strict in such a situation. Rashi explains, Aresha de Seif, if we're going on the first case of the end cases, meaning Yain shalovet kochavim bereshus oved kochavim, the wine of the oved kochavim in the possession of the oved kochavim, v'Yisrael darba a chatzar, and there's a Jew in that chatzar. To Ko'amar Rabbi Meir mutter. Rabbi Meir over there said mutter v'husha mafteach v'chosim biyado, and that's if the key and the seal are in his possession. V'yasu rabbanon l'meisrei, and maybe the rabbanon are coming to say it's prohibited in that case. V'amar le Rabbi Yochanan l'Tana, but Rabbi Yochanan said to the Tana that it's so obvious that it's mutter in this case that you should take out the words. You should take out the words v'husha mafteach v'chosim biyado, and it should be afal pi she'ein mafteach v'chosim biyado. It's mutter. Alma pshita leila Rabbi Yochanan. You see, it's obvious to Rabbi Yochanan ki gavna lakulu, that we would be lenient in that case, to bo'ina lemezel, that we're going to be lenient, and so therefore it can't be that the Chachamim are being strict over there. And so the Gemara continues and suggests, V'yalo aseifa duresha, maybe the Chachamim are actually going on the end part of the first cases of the Brisa. Those first cases of the Brisa are not cases of mitahar yeno shalovet kochavim, but they're actually cases where it actually belongs, the wine actually belongs to the Jew. To Ka'amar Tanakama, because in the end case of the first set of the Brisa, the Tanakama says, B'chotzar acheres, that if the Jew is living in the other chotzar, mutter, it's permitted, v'hu shemafteach v'chosim biyado, but it's permitted only on the condition that the key and the seal are in his possession. And so then you'll say v'chachamim omrim, and the chachamim say in that case liolam aser, it's completely going to be aser. It's always going to be aser. Ad she'eh shomer yoshev v'mashamer, until you have a guard that's sitting there and guarding. Or until you have somebody appointed who comes at set time. So essentially the Chacham are being strict, again in that case where the wine belongs to the Jew, and then you have a Jew in another chatzar. The Gemara asks what Rashi mentioned earlier, Mamuna Bola Kitzin Greyusu, the fact that the appointed person is coming at set times, that actually makes it worse, because now it's very easy for the Oved Kochavim to touch the wine. He knows exactly when the guard is going to come. And so the Gemara says, Ella rather, Ad Sheyovo Mamuna She'eno Bola Kitzin, you have to revise what the Chachamim say. It means to say that the appointed person is not coming at any particular set time, and now really the Oved Kochavim is afraid. And Rashi explains, Elo Asefa Deresha, rather you have to say the Chachamim are going on the end case of the first set of cases, Heicha Diyayin Shal Yisrael, who that's the case where the wine belongs to the Jew. The Katani Yisrael Dor B'chatzar Acheres Mutter, and it said in the Brisa that if a Jew lives in another chatzar, it's Mutter, V'hushem Aftech V'chosim Biyado, as long as he has the key and the seal. To Kevan Diyayin Yisrael, who since the wine belongs to the Jew, Mirtas Over Kochavim L'zayif, the Over Kochavim is afraid to forge anything. Shema Yargish Bo Yisrael, maybe the Jew will be aware. Hadar B'chatzar Acheres, the Jew who lives in the other chatzar will be aware of it. The Gemara then asks Reusu, isn't it bad that he's coming at appointed at set times? To Keva de Yeshlo Shah Kavula Biyaso, if everyone knows when he's coming, Lo Mirtas Oved Kochavim, the Oved Kochavim is not going to be afraid, and so therefore the Gemara changed the girsa of that line. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says, Rishus Ovdei Kochavim Achasi, the Rishus of the Ovdei Kochavim, of the idolaters, are all one. And the Gemara asks, Iboy Luhu, they have the following question. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar lahakil o lahachmer. What's Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar saying? Is he coming to be lenient or is he coming to be strict? Rashi explains lahakil o lahachmer, lenient or strict. Lahakil would be as follows. To be lenient would be as follows. To Kamar Tanakama, because the Tanakama just said in the Mishnah, right before Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, the Tanakama said, Bo'ir shekula ovdei kochavim, if it's a city which is all ovdei kochavim, it means there's the oved kochavim is less afraid. So asur lohanicho bebayis, ha'oved kochavim, it's forbidden to place the wine in the house of the oved kochavim, shehu bailav, that he's the owner of the wine, v'hu adin bebeis oved kochavim acher, and the same would be true if you're placing it in the house of another oved kochavim, meaning to say, what if the wine were placed by a non-Jew, by an idolater, who's a shomer, who's watching it on behalf of the oved kochavim owner? So according to this understanding, the Tanakama is saying in both situations it's going to be problematic because there's going to be no fear of touching the wine. The Kamar Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, and then Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar is responding to that and saying, "V'chikol rishus ovdei kochavim achasi, is all of the rishus of an ovdei kochavim, do we treat it all the same?" Bitmiya, he's saying that as a question. Kolomar means to say as follows: Hoel ve'eno bebeis ba'olav, since the wine is not in the house of its owner, mutter, it's actually permitted. Tehai oved kochavim mirtas, because if it's in the house of another oved kochavim who's watching over it as a shomer, so the owner, who's the oved kochavim, is going to be afraid. So that is one possibility, that Rav Shimon ben Elazar is coming to be lenient if the wine is placed in the house of a different oved kochavim. O lahachmir kamer, or you could say that Rav Shimon ben Elazar is being strict. Uvenichusa itmar, and he's not saying it as a bitmi, or he's not saying it as a question, but he's making a statement. The Tanakama dafka bebeis ba'olav kamar, because according to this understanding, the Tanakama is prohibiting it only if it's in the house of its owner. V'yasser Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar l'meimer, and Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar is coming to say, hu hadin bebeisa oved kochavim acher, that the same would be true in the house of another oved kochavim, that it would be yasser. Dechayshinan legomlin, because we're afraid that they essentially pay each other off, they do each other favors. Afagav dehai oved kochavim shabayis shalo yiched lo keren zovius li Yisrael, even though this oved kochavim who owns the house, he designated a corner for the Jew. V'lo naga denitfas olav kaganav, he's not going to touch it, he doesn't want to be like a ganav. Chayshinan, but we're afraid. Dil moshavik leila oved kochavim chaveiro bal hayayin, maybe he'll let this oved kochavim, who's his friend, who's the owner of the wine, maybe he'll let him touch it. Delo mirtas lenasuche, he won't be afraid to pour his libation. Ki heichi de lahader Yisrael v'zavin mehai oved kochavim zimna achrina. The reason why he wants to do a favor to the owner of the wine is because that way, when the Jew goes ahead and he buys from the oved kochavim another time, umafkid le gabeyahu de lishbok le lenasuche, and then he'll deposit it by the same oved kochavim who did him this favor to allow him to pour the wine as a libation. And so therefore, since one oved kochavim wants to do a favor for the other oved kochavim, that would be a reason to prohibit. And the Gemara continues, Rav Yehuda Amar Zeiri Lohakil. Rav Yehuda says that Zeiri says that Rav Shimon ben Elazar is coming to be lenient and saying that if it's in the rishus of another oved kochavim, we can be lenient in that situation. And Rav Nachman Amar Zeiri Lahachman. Rav Nachman says that Zeiri says that Rav Shimon ben Elazar is coming to be strict. It's the Tanakama that allowed it in the rishus of another oved kochavim, and Rav Shimon ben Elazar is saying that that is problematic. And the Gemara continues and elaborates. Rav Yehuda Amar Zeiri Lahakil. Rav Yehuda says that Zeiri says that he's coming to be mekel v'hachi Amar Tanakama Kashem Sheberushuso Aser Kach Bereshus Oved Kochavim Acher Nami Aser. According to the view that Rav Shimon ben Elazar is lenient, the Tanakama was saying, just like in his own Rishus it's forbidden, so too if it would be in the Rishus of a different Oved Kochavim, it would be forbidden. V'chayshinan legomlin, and according to this view, the Tanakama says we are concerned that they're going to do each other favors. That's why the Tanakama is strict. And Rav Shimon ben Elazar Omer, Rav Shimon ben Elazar then says, Ba'amed Dvar Mamurim Bereshus, so it's not true. When are we strict? Only if it's in his own Rishus. Aval Bereshus Oved Kochavim Acher mutter, but if it would be in the rishus of a different oved kochavim, it would be mutter. V'lo chayshin legomlin, we're not concerned that they're going to do each other favors. Rav Nachman Amar Zeiri Lahachman. Rav Nachman says that Zeiri says that Rav Shimon ben Elazar is being strict. V'hachi kamar Tanakam, and this is what the Tanakam is saying. Ba'amed devar mamurim b'reshus. So when are we strict? If it's in his own rishus, aval b'reshus oved kochavim acher mutter, but if it's in the rishus of a different oved kochavim, it would be permitted. V'lo chayshin legomlin, we're not concerned that they're going to do each other favors. And according to this view, Rav Shimon ben Elazar Omer, Rav Shimon ben Elazar then comes back and says, Kol rishus ovdei kochavim achasi, we treat all the rishuyos of the ovdei kochavim as one, and we're strict in both scenarios. And the Gemara continues, Tanya Kivasi de Rav Nachman Amar Zeiri Lahachmer. We have a brisa that supports the view of Rav Nachman from Zeiri that Rav Shimon ben Elazar is saying that we are strict. The Brisa says, Amar Reb Shimon ben Elazar says, Kol Rishus Ovdei Kochavim Achasi, all of the Rishuyos of the Ovdei Kochavim are considered like one, Mipnei Haramoin, because of those who cheat, because of those who are not trustworthy. And so therefore you see from that phrasing, from the fact that he says Mipnei Haramoin, that Reb Shimon ben Elazar is coming to be strict. And the Gemara continues, Devei Parzik Rofila, in the house of Parzik, who was the second to the king. Rashi says, Parzik Shem Ho'ish, Parzik was his name. Rofila Sheni Lamelech, he was the second to the king. Osivu Chamra Gabe Arisayu, they would place their wine by their sharecroppers. Rashi explains, Osivu Chamra Yayin Kosher, this was kosher wine. Tezavni Yisrael Bashroi, and the Jew bought it on credit. And so they would place it Gabe Arisayu by their sharecropper, Ovdei Kochavim Kamosam, by other idolaters just like them. And Rashi notes, as the Gemara will say, Arisa mirtas mimori, a sharecropper is afraid of his master. Vinami naga, and even if he touches masid alei, the lo naga, the sharecropper will testify that he didn't touch, as the Gemara will now say. In any case, again, what happened was they placed this wine by their sharecroppers. Sava Rabbanan Kame de Rava Lameimar, the Rabbanan in front of Rava, they thought to say, Ki chayshinan legomlin, when might we be concerned that they're going to do each other favors? Hani mili heicha de kamosiv hai gabe hai, that's when this Oved Kochavim is giving it to another Oved Kochavim. The idea is that they're going to exchange favors. I'll give it to you this time, you'll give it to me next time. Aval hacha, but over here in this case, Kevan da arise lav darche lo sove be parzik rofila, since it's not the way the sharecropper to give any items over to the house of Parzik, the second to the king, to watch over. So legom lo chashinan, we're not afraid that they're going to do each other favors, because you have a situation here where it's all in one direction. Everything is always given from Be Parzik Rofila to the sharecroppers, and therefore over here there's no concern that they're going to do each other favors, and we should say over here that the wine is going to be permitted. Amar Lahu Rava, Rava said to them, Adarab, on the contrary, even according to the one who says that in general we're not concerned that they're going to do each other favors, Hani Mili Heicha de lo mirtas mine, that's in a situation where one Oved Kochavim is not afraid of the other one. Aval but over here, Kevan de mirtas mine, since the sharecropper is afraid of Be Parzik, who is second to the king, so Mechapi Olezachusa, so in such a situation they'll actually cover up for him, and even if the people from the house of Parzik, the second to the king, would touch the wine, the sharecropper would testify, since he's so afraid, he would testify that they did not touch the wine. And the Gemara continues, how Karcha, there was a city, to have a Yosef Bechamra de Yisrael, that in that city there was Jewish wine. Eshtakach Oved Kochavim da koi beni doni, and an Oved Kochavim was found that he was standing among the barrels of wine. Amar Rava says, Im nitfas olav kaganav, if it's a situation where the Oved Kochavim would be afraid of being caught as a thief, so chamra shari, so then the wine would be permitted, because we assume he's not going to want to do anything to break the law. V'ilo, but if it's a situation not like that, meaning the Oved Kochavim is not afraid of being caught as a thief, so then asur, so then the wine is going to be forbidden. Rashi explains, Karchas Krach, again, it's a city. Im nitvas olav kaganav, im Oved Kochavim cholashu, if the Oved Kochavim is weak, v'yesh emas shoftei ho yarolav, he's afraid of the judges of the city, v'im yimtzu no geya, and if they find that he touched the wine, nitvas olav kaganav, they'll treat him like a thief. So then chamra shari b'shasiyah, so then the wine is permitted even to drink the wine. V'ilo, and if not, asar af bahana, then it's going to be forbidden even to get benefit. Devadai naga, because he certainly touched the wine. Hadran aloch Rabbi Yishmael, we will return to you. Perak Rabbi Yishmael. This is the end of the fourth parak of Meseches Avoda Zara. If you're enjoying these videos and this channel, please like, share, and subscribe, and take a look at the description box below to see how you can support this channel. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf 61b Amud Aleph.